Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back. Today I am diving into two powerhouse women who have created massive legacies on the planet, both coming from extremely different backgrounds. And I felt really compelled to speak to this because I know a lot of times we see different wins or results or outcomes, and it can be really easy to compare or to look at differences and perceive differences in your situation or where you started or where you grew up or all these different things. And I feel like it's important to share the different contrasts and also the different ways that, regardless of your upbringing or your past experiences or the beliefs that were kind of programmed into you in your childhood, you have the ability within you as a powerful co-creator to shift that and rewrite it and step into something different. So the two women I'm going to speak to today worked through my quantum healing hypnosis bundle called Legacy, and they have worked with me privately before I turned it all into a course. And they both came from extremely different backgrounds. So I don't like using names because I like to keep it private, but I'm going to say person one and person two. So person one was born and raised in a third world developing country. She had her own different struggles and insecurities and experiences in childhood around self-worth. And she was wanting to create her own business or scale. She had already started it, but scale it even bigger. And it represented sustainability and women's empowerment and just really liberating women in their bodies, in their life, in the way they want to show up in the world, and the respect that they deserve. Person number two, she grew up in the States with a wealthy family, and she grew up where money was available and accessible because of her parents' work and primarily her dad's career. But then she had a coaching and healing business as well as a couple different investment projects she was a part of. And I'll get into their after situations right away. But the contrast that I really wanted to touch on or highlight at the beginning before going any further is just the country of origin and the perceived opportunities, right? As well as someone who grew up without a super wealthy family, and so the money beliefs that she had, person number one, versus person number two, who had very open money mindset and had different energetics and beliefs around money being accessible and money being available and abundance being out there, right? And not only out there in the ethers, but like literally in her family line. So the money beliefs to begin with were very different for the two of them around what was possible and what they deserved. And I highlight that because more often than not, we tend to attach our worthiness towards money. And so when we're wanting to scale or increase our income or go into something much bigger, if we feel a low sense of worth and we question our worthiness, then typically we kind of block or limit our ability to receive more. So woman number two had a bit of an advantage in terms of already having a different money mindset and this kind of different energetic signature around money. Her wealth consciousness was very developed compared to the childhood and the upbringing of person number one, who didn't experience that and didn't see that firsthand. Okay? Now I want to share the after, and then I'm going to share the process and different parts that they both did in their unique journeys. So woman number one, who was from the developing country and launching and scaling her own sustainability business and brand, after going through the process and using quantum healing hypnosis and clearing out different traumas and limiting beliefs and visibility blocks, and trusting the deep mission, the deep purpose, the deep impact she was here to create, and allowing that to move through her, she went from struggling for years to scale her business to, after only a couple activations, being showcased. I was going to say a combination of things. She attracted someone who was very high up in the space that she was in, and got shared across social media platforms, magazine interviews, and articles written about her, suddenly in front of millions of eyes and millions of people, and her business and her brand took off instantaneously. It was so beautiful, so powerful for her. And she was someone who, growing up, had felt very small, very invisible, very much like a number in a very big country, right? A very populated country, and struggling with beliefs around being seen fully and taking up space and being respected as a woman, because that was also a challenge in her culture growing up. So she had all these things that technically on paper were working against her, and things that had created a lot of challenge and struggle for her in her life. But it was through the deep reprogramming and healing work that she was able to uncover the ways that the past experiences had created these blocks, and they had created these limitations or beliefs about herself, and created these constructs and programs around what was possible or what wasn't. And a lot of that led to her playing small and dimming her light. And a way I can personally relate to that is believing in her vision, but then when she took the actions to put it out there, she wasn't like in a full, confident, embodied stance behind it. She was already expecting to not be seen or heard or respected. And that's been a huge challenge for me over the years, because of all my beliefs from childhood about not being seen or heard, and feeling very invisible, feeling very like the silent wallflower, pushed aside. Nobody even knows if I'm there, and it doesn't matter if I'm there or not. And it's those very beliefs for myself that have caused me, I believe, to limit myself and block the potential. And it's something I've been working on a lot more lately, is stepping into that, clearing those blocks, and like taking full ownership of the bigness and the radiance and the energy that I show up in the world, and letting it be seen, believing that I deserve to be seen and to just share what is within me and what's coming through me. So for her, as she started to release these blocks and start to build the confidence, the empowerment, the deep inner knowing that she's supported in all that she's here to do, and that her legacy, the things she's creating, are so important and so needed on the planet. And instead of kind of hiding or playing small behind that, she started taking up the full space and owning it. And it's as subtle and yet like such a big magnitude, but it's like a subtle energetic shift, right? From the smallness, kind of hiding behind it, to the bigness of taking up that space and letting her energetic field magnetize and radiate outwards, and believing that what she had to share mattered and the right people would find it. And they did, very, very quickly, and almost like magic. So she suddenly had millions of views on her business, all these different media features, being like a leading woman in her country for sustainable business because of what she'd created. And going on after that, and since this first process, going on to create a really powerful movement in the space. So it was so beautiful to see the way she liberated herself through using these tools and the subconscious reprogramming, as well as those energetic shifts, right? To open up and allow herself to take up fully and show up fully in that space. Woman number 2. she had her coaching business, as I mentioned, and multiple investments. She was already in a family, like with her husband, and had multiple kids, or has multiple kids. So she wanted to build a legacy that incorporated family time and being able to be a loving, nurturing mother who is present and involved in there. But she also wanted to have time for her passions with her coaching and healing work, and with that hands-on support for other women through retreats, through coaching, through masterminds. And her ideal was to invest in new property to create a retreat space and have her very own place for these women's empowerment experiences. And when she first started doing the quantum healing hypnosis work, she was already on her way and she already had success on paper. So she already was doing well financially and feeling confident in some ways. Like I said, she had a good money mindset from childhood. But in terms of receiving for her coaching and healing business, that was kind of a new thing for her. And she was really wanting to build the empowerment regarding the retreats and like stepping into that next level of reaching on a greater scale and holding space for women on a greater scale by having these in-person events. And she started to notice a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of self-doubt around it, and the imposter syndrome of who am I to think I can do this? So for her, it was less about money and more just about stepping into it and trusting that she'd be supported and taking the aligned action each day. She fell into her emotions quite often and got into that kind of overthinking, over doubting kind of mindset. And it was through the subconscious reprogramming work that she started to basically install a new software and installed a new identity, the version of her who already had the things that she wanted, that had been successful for years, that was showing up in a completely new way, and also healing and clearing out past traumas, because there were some traumas connected to fear of losing money because of things she saw and the stress or the pressure to maintain certain amounts. And even though she had grown up in a wealthier family, there were still beliefs around lack. So there was a lot in that space to clear out, and also in her energetic signature, her aura, her energetic field, to remove these little like blocks or hindrances and like energy drains that were showing up and impacting her from being seen fully and just being as powerful as she is. By the end of the process, she had manifested her first $1 million year across her business and her other investments. This was something she had not done before, and she was wanting so deeply to anchor in this 7-figure year and normalize it for herself. But beyond the money, for her, the legacy included and was more about encompassing the well-rounded approach, which I think is so important, because society and media just pushes money or cars or houses or things like that. But for her, it was like the family time and being able to go on multiple trips with her family and be imprinting all the things she's learning and shifting into her family tree, right? Spending quality time to better her children and support them in what they're here to do, and allowing that legacy to run generations deep. She invested in real estate and got a new property in Hawaii to host her retreats and start building towards the bigger legacy with her coaching and healing work. And because of the $1 million year, that allowed her to expand even further with all these different investments and the ways to allow money to work for her. So there was so many ways that she went from this kind of struggle and feeling stuck with scaling to the next level to expanding beyond the current reach and creating something so beautiful, so powerful, and seeing herself as worthy of that, seeing the importance of it and allowing herself to receive for all the gifts that she was sharing in exchange, right? All the deeply potent work that she was bringing into the world through her business and her coaching and her healing and her mentorship, allowing herself to receive and be this open space to grow that and build that even deeper. So both of them had such incredible transformations and such incredible stories, all from shifting these energy blocks, these subconscious beliefs, these things that get stored in our body as well, right? It's just like stagnant energy. Or we can even say it's just misaligned energy. Because if your future self, your higher self, the truth of who you are, your divine blueprint, is here for a specific legacy, for something bigger, that version of you already exists. And current you is just holding stagnant energy, holding misaligned beliefs, holding old wounds from childhood, holding things in your energetic field that cause you to hold back or play small. And it's in this work that is so profound and so powerful that within a few months, like within 1 month, person number 1 manifested all those eyes and her business skyrocketed and built into this huge, huge legacy in her country. And by the end of the year, so within a few months of doing the work, person number 2 hit her $1 million year and was able to purchase a retreat space and scale in that way, right? So these things operate at quantum speed when we're not stuck in logic and when we're not staying in the old self and the version of who we think we are, who is very limited by the current things or very stuck in those misaligned energies. When we do the work energetically and mentally to clear that out, and then we take the aligned physical action, so we're doing the work in the physical as well to start showing up, putting the pieces in place, stepping out of the comfort zone and how we're putting ourselves out into the world. That action, though, becomes a lot easier when you've programmed in the new identity, because if you already see it and feel it to be who you are, then the action is just natural. It feels very easy for you. So it's the mind, the body, the soul, it's all of this combined that within a few months you can have these quantum leaps and build a massive shift in terms of your business, your legacy, the impact, the massive thing that you're here to create, and the way that you're meant to leave your mark on the world in such a beautiful and positive way. So this is all taught, all the different practices, the deep quantum healing hypnosis work, the trainings, the alignment, the energetics. This is all inside Legacy, my quantum healing hypnosis bundle. And I've linked it in the description for you down below. So if you are in a similar state as either of these women that I've talked about, and you know you're here for so much more, but you feel like there are things that are blocking you or misaligned, or you just can't figure out what's going on and self-sabotaging or keeping you trapped, this is the place to start. It's going to blast you wide open and set you free to really step into what it is you're here for. So that is linked below. I would love to support you through that process. And yeah, that's it for now, my friend. Keep dreaming big and keep showing up at your fullest and allow your legacy to change the world. I'm sending you love, and I'll see you again soon.